Welcome everybody, another edition of Legacy Angling, coming to you just off of the water. I had a chance to chase some walleyes with a couple of my boys this morning. I want to focus this week on preparation. There's a few apps on my phone that really help in the planning phase. I'm going to walk you through those and hopefully make you a better angler. Yeah, you may have noticed a little more background music this week. The wind was cranking really hard this morning. Hard to get good audio with the equipment I had, so my apologies for that, but some nice fish hitting the boat. Back inside a little bit later when the wind's not blowing and show you some apps on my phone help us catch fish like this morning. I want to walk you through some of the apps that I'm using to help make some decisions before I hit the water. We all have our favorite weather app, but I want to show you this app here called Wind Tracker Pro. As you adjust the date and time, it'll show you different wind directions and how fast the wind will be blowing. I can move this map all over the place. I can make a lot of decisions based on it. You see here Lake Superior is in green that particular day and time. I'd probably avoid Lake Superior that day because it's 20 plus mile an hour winds. Very similarly, I'm going to Mille Lacs pretty soon. So I'm checking it out that this particular day looks really calm. That helps me make some decisions. You know, whether it's safety related, I want to pick a boat landing that's not having the wind chucking into it. That I can safely load unload my boat, and of course fishing decisions. Wind blown shorelines can be great this time of year, rock piles, inside turns, all sorts of decisions can be made at home, sitting at home figuring out which way the wind's blowing. So I highly recommend this Wind Tracker app. Once I got wind and weather figured out, I'm going to turn to mapping. I got a couple different mapping apps on my phone. This is Navionics. Back over on Mille Lacs here, taking a look from the comfort of home. You can get some really good mapping done. You can zoom in on spots, take a real deep dive in different locations. The little green fish on there, that's spots I've added, so I can take and transfer that to my graph and be able to find those spots pretty easily. Or if you have good coverage, you can actually just take this phone with you and it acts as a mobile mapping platform. Just zooming back in and out on different lakes here. This is Grindstone Lake. Obviously you can tell contours on almost every lake that you zoom in on. If I'm looking for a very specific lake that I fish a lot, I'll turn to this Humminbird Fish Smart app. This is a section of the St. Louis River, Spirit Lake area, and then dumping down into the harbor and eventually into Lake Superior. But very high detailed 1 foot contour maps. Also gives me the ability to color code some things, different depth ranges. Quickly points out spots to me that I might want to try if fish are biting in a certain depth, or if I'm planning on trolling in a certain depth. If my boat's in that green area, I'm kind of where I want to be this particular time of year. So very handy. Both these mapping softwares The Navionics and the Fish Smart have some costs associated with them, but both incredibly handy. Lastly, I'm going to open up my Precision Trolling Data app for you. This app allows me to really dial in crankbait depth. Simply select the amount of line back for the desired depth you want to run, and the days of guessing how far back you need to go or how deep your crankbait is diving are gone. You can really dial in the bite with this thing. It does two things for me. Obviously, it gives me confidence I'm in the strike zone, and secondly, it lets me replicate the bite. If I'm getting bit 120 feet back on a certain crankbait, I can set all my crankbaits back to that depth. You can buy individual lures, or you can get into a lifetime subscription to this thing. It gives you options to buy all sorts of cranks. All the apps I've been able to share with you do have some costs associated with them, so I wanted you to keep that in mind. For me, from the comfort of my own couch, being able to dial in the wind, being able to GPS map some spots I might want to try, being able to figure out what depth I might have to run my cranks to reach those fish, those are all incredibly important pieces of the puzzle. And if I can do those things before I hit the water, all the better. And for me, the cost associated with it is well worth it. It's not going to break the bank, but it's going to make my time on the water more efficient. So I hope you enjoyed this week. This is Brett Baker for Legacy Angling and the Pine Knot News, and we'll see you on the water.